with our counsel over the last several months relative to the special counsel
this subpoena,
report.
Mr. Chairman. Did you engage with the White House at any time in the last several weeks since issuing this subpoena, the one you want to hold this witness in contempt for? Did you ever engage with the White House in an effort to accommodate, an effort to reach an agreement, an effort to prevent this from having to be litigated?
Did you, Congressman Jordan, engage with the White House issuing this subpoena?
The House Judiciary Committee hearing was already heated. Then came the showdown. The atmosphere was charged, with every member on edge, anticipating the next move. Congressman Adam Schiff, a seasoned inquisitor, zeroed in on Chairman Jim Jordan. His eyes were fixed, his tone unwavering as he prepared to dissect Jordan's actions.
It's standard procedure, Congressman, to seek accommodation on matters of executive privilege. Did you simply forget, or was there a more pressing reason for your haste?
Schiff's line of questioning was relentless. He probed deeper, seeking to uncover any hidden motives or lapses in judgment. He wanted to know if Jordan had deliberately bypassed protocol. Was this a calculated move or a mere oversight? The insinuation was clear. Had Jordan overreached, rushing to punish a private citizen without due process? The stakes were high, and the implications profound. The room was silent, everyone waiting for Jordan's response. The tension was palpable, as all eyes turned to him awaiting his defense.
The White House raised their concerns just 2 days ago. They claimed there were serious issues that needed immediate attention, but they provided no clear details or evidence to back up their claims. Am I supposed to be a mind reader? How can anyone expect us to address these concerns without proper information?
Jordan.
Gentleman from California withdraws point of order who seeks recognition. Gentleman from California is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, much as I don't like certain parts of the Mazars decision, it clearly applies in this case, and the committee is required to engage with the White House in order to seek an accommodation over materials held by a private party, as they were in the Mazars case, and seek to resolve this with the White House. So I would ask unanimous consent that we enter into the record your correspondence to the White House.
Objection.
Seeking to engage them to resolve this. And I thank the chairman for not objecting. Can you produce that correspondence to the White House asking for accommodation on these materials you've sought by this subpoena?
First time they reached out to us was 2 days ago.
Yes, and of course the author expressed the concern that these materials may implicate interests of the executive. I think that was weeks ago. But having admitted without dissent your correspondence to the White House, can you produce that for us where you have sought an accommodation, where you've sought to work this out with the White House? Can you share that with us since that is now part of the record?
Well, I thought you had it. You wanted to enter it into the record.
I do. I presume that, knowing your responsibilities, you have sought to engage.
His patience was wearing thin as the lack of transparency became more apparent.
This is a witch hunt. They're trying to undermine our efforts with baseless accusations. This individual tried to destroy evidence. They went to great lengths to cover their tracks, and now they want us to believe their claims without question? And now we're supposed to tiptoe around executive privilege? It's as if they're using it as a shield to hide the truth.
Jordan's anger was palpable. He felt cornered and was determined to make his voice heard. He saw himself as the victim of a smear campaign. The media frenzy only added to his frustration. He argued that he was simply trying to get to the truth, to uncover what was really going on behind the scenes, while the other side was more interested in playing political games. They seemed more focused on scoring points than finding solutions. The room was buzzing with nervous energy. Everyone was on edge, waiting to see what would happen next.
Let's be clear. This isn't just about a single incident or a minor oversight. A phone call, an email, a memo. These are not just trivial actions, they are the backbone of our community.
Sought to engage the White House, so
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Produce
Gentleman is
the...
recognized for point of order.
I think a unanimous consent request to submit something to the record is where the person who's asking for the floor is the proponent of submitting information that member has. I don't believe it's appropriate to ask a unanimous consent request to engage in a colloquy over discovering information or obtaining information from another member of the committee.
Great, and that's why I said that no objection to the unanimous consent request. If the gentleman from California wants to talk about that and present it to us, God bless him. He's allowed to do it. It's 5 minutes.
I would like clarification from the chairman. Does this mean that there is no correspondence from you to the White House seeking accommodation on this material?
We've had all kinds of correspondence with the White House on this broad subject relative to the Zwanitzer and the letter we got 2 days ago. We've not corresponded with the White House yet.
And
we will, we may. That's a decision we'll make.
And you have not corresponded with the White House seeking accommodation ever since the author who you are subpoenaing and seeking to hold in contempt articulated the view that there was executive interest and potential privilege over this material. You haven't sought to engage over the weeks since you received that communication?
We have not engaged with the White House since the letter on the 25th of this month, 2 days ago.
And prior to that time, did you engage the White House in an effort to obtain these materials?
All kinds of engagements with our counsel and counsel, both
I'm talking about
Justice Department and White House with our counsel over the last several months relative to the special counsel
this subpoena,
report.
Mr. Chairman. Did you engage with the White House at any time in the last several weeks since issuing this subpoena, the one you want to hold this witness in contempt for? Did you ever engage with the White House in an effort to accommodate, an effort to reach an agreement, an effort to prevent this from having to
Making processes. Any of these could have sufficed, yet they were ignored, leading to a breakdown in protocol.
Schiff, unfazed by Jordan's outburst, calmly laid out his critique. He meticulously pointed out each procedural misstep.
You are the chairman. This isn't a game. The integrity of our processes is at stake. These procedures exist for a reason. They ensure fairness, transparency, and accountability.
He was building a case, piece by piece, meticulously highlighting each instance of Jordan's procedural neglect, of Jordan's disregard for established norms. Each example was a brick in the wall of his argument. Every word from Schiff chipped away at Jordan's defense.
Did you ever write any correspondence, make any call to the White House seeking to engage, seeking to get these materials that you're seeking from the author instead from the White House? Did you ever do that, Mr. Chairman?
We're seeking documents from a private individual who, I might add, tried to destroy the evidence.
I guess the question is, I guess the answer is no.
Since 2
days ago. The answer is no.
The answer is since 2 days ago, I'm not
asking the question about since 2 days ago, although nothing
That's when they first raised the concern.
Nothing prevented you from writing a letter within the last 2 days or reaching out to the White House before this.
Now you want me to be clairvoyant and read the White House's mind and write a letter before they tell us something?
Nothing prevented you from seeking these materials from the White House.
California is known
for months, Mr. Chairman. For months.
I'm not a mind reader.
And I thank you for making a very clean record for any court that will look at this.
The gentleman from North Carolina said
accommodation
months ago the White House could have raised the concern, and they didn't.
These documents. Because your first move, of course, is to go right to contempt. Ironically, of course, for a chairman who was in contempt of his own subpoena.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
We're still waiting for you to testify and meet the obligations of your own subpoena, Mr. Chairman. But nevertheless, I appreciate you're making such a clean record for any court in this case that you have never sought an accommodation, never written to the White House, never called the White House, never had a communication with the White House in order to obtain these materials as part of an accommodation. Thank you for that very clean record for the court, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Who seeks recognition?
Chipped away at Jordan's defense. It was a methodical dismantling of his credibility. He was painting a picture of a chairman so blinded by partisan zeal that he'd abandoned basic legal protocols. It was a damning portrayal. The audience was captivated, unsure who to believe. The tension in the room was palpable as they weighed each argument.
Well, Congressman Jordan, you've certainly created a very clean record for the courts, and perhaps you could remind us all about the importance of complying with subpoenas, which is crucial.
As the interrogation wound down, Schiff delivered his final blow with precision. The room erupted in murmurs and whispers. With that, Schiff sat back, leaving Jordan fuming with frustration. The implication was clear. By sidestepping protocol, Jordan had undermined his own case. The hearing adjourned, but the political fallout was far from over.